The data function comes in handy for calculating variance in Mango problems, especially for covariance share method. Let's work on question number 14 from 2010 exam. The company currently only writes policy X and is considering adding policy Y. We are given a probability distribution of non-zero losses and the variance risk load multiplier. In part A, we need to calculate marginal variance risk load for X and Y. First, we need to recognize this is a build-up scenario. Policy X risk load is only based on its variance. Policy Y risk load is based on its variance plus 2 covariance, or total variance minus X variance. Copy the probability table and number the columns. Policy X variance is the sum of probability in column 2 times 1 minus probability times X losses in column 3 squared. On the calculator, input probabilities in L1 and X losses in L2. In L3, key in the formula, press data, select formula, select add and add the formula, press enter. Press data, select L1, open parenthesis, 1 minus L1, close parenthesis, L2 squared. Press enter. Policy X variance is the sum of L3. Press second and then data, select 1 bar stats, enter, select L3, select 1, select cal, press enter. Scroll down to item 5 to get the sum. For policy Y variance, input Y losses in L2 and get the sum. Since the formula is still in L3, we don't need to change anything in L3. Now the sum of L3 is the variance of policy Y. For the variance of the combined portfolio, input X plus Y losses in L2 and get the sum in L3. Policy X risk load is the multiplier times variance of X. Y risk load is multiplier times total variance minus X variance. For part B, we need to calculate the risk load under the covariance share method. In the build-up scenario, X risk load is just based on variance of X. Y risk load is based on variance Y plus its variance share. First, we write out the formula for policy Y variance share. On the calculator, we will do the calculation in 2 parts. The first part is 2 times column 4 squared times column 3 divided by column 5. Let's input X losses in L1 and Y losses in L2. Now let's input the formula for policy Y covariance share in L3. 2 times L2 squared times L1 divided by the sum of L1 and L2. Don't forget to include 2 in the covariance share calculation. It's a common mistake to forget about 2. Now clear the formula in L3 and keep the numbers. Clear the numbers in L1 and L2. Input the probabilities in L2. In L1, we can input the second part of the formula, L3 times L2 times 1 minus L2. The sum of L1 is the covariance share for policy Y. To get the sum, press second, data, 1 bar stats. Make sure you select L1 for the data. The sum of L1 is policy Y covariance share. Policy Y risk load is the multiplier times variance Y plus Y variance share. Part C asks for the deferred risk load, which is due to the additional risk load from policy X due to the covariance term in the renewal scenario. In the renewal scenario, the risk load of the portfolio is based on variance X, variance Y plus 2 covariance. That's the same as the sum of risk loads calculated in Part A. Sum of Part A risk loads minus the sum of Part B risk load is the deferred risk load.